Hello everyone. It's a little bit different setup today, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But first, the whole objective of today's video is we're debt free. So let me kind of explain. Oh, there is a glare in my glasses. So we have been saving for this move. I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit. We have been saving to move. We've been saving a lot in sinking funds. And so we had built up quite a large reserve in our checking account. And so this move is just not going as quickly as we had planned. We're here a little bit longer than we thought we were going to be. It's still a huge potential that we will move before the end of October. But we were thinking we were going to be out of here like mid-September, which is not going to be a thing now. So we had quite a bit saved up in our checking account because I use YNAB. And if you know anything about the you need a budget method, you don't really need to have money in 12 different spots. And so I try and keep all of our finances as compact as possible. So a lot of it just sits in our checking, and then I go and use sinking funds, and I keep everything there. So I spend out of categories, not based on account balances. There's a whole method to YNAB, so maybe I can do another video on that later. But anyways, so we had quite a bit saved in our sinking funds within our checking account. And the other day, my husband was like, why don't we just pay off the car? Like, we have enough in our checking, just pay it off. And then since we're gonna be here about a month longer than we thought we were gonna be, we'll just build all of that back up. And so I called the bank and I was like, hey, I'm gonna pay off my car today. And the lady was like, are you sure? You really wanna do that? And I was like, yeah, let's pay it off. So I gave her my debit card number and we paid it off. It was about $2,900 left to pay off on our SUV. And so I paid it off and we became debt free on September 2nd. And it's still not really kicked in because we pretty much emptied everything within our checking account, because again, we don't have 12 different savings accounts. We just use categories. We pretty much drained it all minus a few $100. So we're just like, we can't do anything until we get paid again. But we did sell some stuff to kind of give us a bigger buffer. I sold my MacBook Air because I can't teach online anymore. And my husband is done with school. So we sold my MacBook Air, which gave us an additional $350. It was a 2017. So if my videos look like they're done, edited, filmed on an iPhone, it's because they are. So my videos will not be fancy anytime soon. I don't pay for anything with my videos. I use my iPhone and I use Canva for my thumbnails. That's it. I don't pay for music. I don't pay for anything. So yeah, we paid it off. I think, so we had started Dave Ramsey. I think I've said this in a prior video. I'm not sure if I did. We started Dave Ramsey back in 2014. By 2016, I believe, no, 2015. By 2015, we were almost out of debt, almost. We had like $3,000 left. And when my first daughter was born, we went out and bought a brand new $60,000 vehicle. I have no idea to this day why we did that. And so we have spent the next, how many years since 2015? 6 years trying to get out from underneath it. And we've had really aggressive periods, and then times where we've dipped off. We've added a little bit of credit card debt in there with a move. And so November of last year, so November of 2020, I'm like, if we're getting out of the military, or he's getting out of the military, I'm like, we have to get this paid off. We cannot, we can't have, car payments and credit card debt and all of that getting out of the military, because we don't know how much we're gonna make. I don't know what the budget's gonna look like, so we have to get this paid off. And so we set a goal of 1 year, so November of 2020 to November of 2021. And we did it in 281 days. So less than a year, we paid off. It was $19,300 and some odd dollars. So roughly $20,000, and we paid it off in 10 months, which is roughly $2,000 a month. And we primarily live on one full-time income. It's not a crazy income at all. It's actually under the average for this area where we live. It's about $15,000 under the average for this area and the cost of living here. I did teach on the side, but I was only averaging about $250 to $300 a month. So really not even a part-time job equivalent. I did bring in a little bit, but it was not earth-shattering. So yeah, that's what we did. We budgeted. We like Dave Ramsey. I don't want to badmouth Dave Ramsey. I really like Dave Ramsey. I like watching his rants. I enjoy his financial piece. But in full transparency, we followed the baby steps. Except we didn't have just $1,000 in a savings account. We have it over our true expenses, which is another YNAB thing, because everything that was an emergency could have been classified as a true expense. Which again, if you know YNAB, you know what true expenses are. But we followed the baby steps mostly to a T. I don't really know Dave Ramsey's view on sinking funds or true expenses or whatever, but besides saving for things that we knew were coming, like new tires, annual expenses, vet bills, things that we know are gonna happen, we just don't know when, we followed the baby steps. We stopped investing. We didn't save a crazy ton. Like, we had a set amount that we saved for things that we knew were coming. We weren't saving for a new car. We weren't saving for a down payment. We weren't just saving a huge buffer, like a huge emergency fund either. We had anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 in true expenses, sinking funds at any given time. So we really, really like Dave Ramsey, and this is why I got kicked out of the Baby Steps community on Facebook. We use YNAB, and YNAB lets you use credit cards within the budget. So you're spending out of the categories, and you're spending within budget, and then it tells you exactly how much to pay off. You can reconcile your credit card account, you can reconcile your checking account, and it always gets paid off. I pay off our card about twice a month, just because it makes it easier for reconciliation for me in case something gets mixed up. We have one card that we primarily use for everything, and then we have one card that is used for groceries, because it gives us 3 times the points on groceries, and so we get about $100 in gift cards for Amazon or Target or whatever a year. And again, we don't carry a balance on any of them. So credit cards was where I disagreed with Dave. I have watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've read a lot. You can do your own research, but I have never met somebody who did manual underwriting and loved it. And I've also never met anybody who did not have a credit score and moved as much as we do. And so that's a lot of money. You have to put down like first and last month's rent, bigger deposits, all of that stuff to not have a credit score. And I personally just didn't think it was worth it to not have a credit score. And so we kept our credit score. But again, if you're a Dave fanatic and you do it exactly to a T, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, yeah, personal finance is personal, and that's what anybody who critiques Dave Ramsey will tell you, is that it does not have to be a one-size-fits-all. You can like Dave and tweak his plan and still succeed, because I'll tell you, there's people on the You Need a Budget fan group who succeed in paying off debt every day, and they don't use the Dave Ramsey method. But yeah, I was kicked out of the Baby Steps community for claiming that I use credit cards within YNAB while doing the baby steps. So I'm not a Dave Ramsey purist, but I do enjoy Dave Ramsey. I like his mentality. I know some people find that really off-putting, but maybe because I went to boot camp, I was in the Navy, that like kick in the pants attitude, it doesn't faze me at all. It actually motivates me versus somebody just coddling me and being like, there, it's okay. You're doing great. Whereas Dave's like, stop acting stupid, get it together, grow up. Like, that motivates me more. I don't know why, just my personality type. So yeah, we paid off our debt, we're debt free. The next steps are rebuilding all of our sinking funds because we do have to move. All of that stuff. We have to pay for a new apartment, new furniture. So that's the next steps. And then we probably will be working on our emergency fund once we rebuild our sinking funds, because that is important. I do want to have an emergency fund. But that's it. We followed Dave Ramsey's plan. Dave Ramsey does owe a lot of the credit to our success because, he motivated us a lot to get out of debt. But I don't want to be dishonest and say that, we did it exactly to a T, because we did not. I still love Dave. I highly recommend You Need a Budget if you need a budgeting app. What else? I highly recommend Selling Everything. People thought we were crazy. Half of our living room is borrowed right now because we sold all of our furniture. So I have a borrowed TV stand, a borrowed TV that's really slow. I have a borrowed futon. We're eating off of a folding table because we sold it all. I sold my MacBook. And people think that's crazy. We sold a GoPro, we sold an Xbox, I sold my AirPods. I sold so much stuff. So selling stuff does work. So yeah, that's it. Who else was inspiring? So the LA Minimalist on Instagram is very, very inspiring for getting out of debt. Prepper Princess here on YouTube is very inspiring for getting out of debt and living very frugally, living on a dime. Under the Median is another one of my favorites. There are plenty of inspirations. So if you are on your debt-free journey, just know that you can do it. I highly recommend Dave. I highly recommend Dave. You just might get kicked out of the baby steps group if you don't follow it to a T, but that's fine. I don't care. You do you. I got kicked out, so anyways, let me know in the comments if you are on a debt-free journey. Minimalism definitely played a huge part in us being able to get out of debt, because I think minimalism just teaches you detachment from your stuff. And so it's so much easier to sell all of the stuff around you when you're like, I don't care, I don't need it. So definitely, sorry, my allergies. Definitely learning detachment from stuff is very helpful. And just overcoming that I need to buy everything, the impulse buys used to kill me. So yeah, if there's any specific kind of videos you would like me to do on debt, savings, frugality, I would definitely classify myself as a very frugal minimalist. I'm not in it for the aesthetics. As you can probably see in my house tour, nothing in my house is super fancy. I'm not in it for the aesthetic look. I'm just solely in it for the benefits of not having to clean, the benefits of getting out of debt, all of that. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.